What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is going to be Canada and the United States compared. Now I'm going to admit, I've admitted it in previous videos before, that I accidentally automatically group Canada in with the United States when I'm talking about that general area. I just do it, I still do, and I can't help it. I try not to, but it'll kind of be like, I'm like, oh, you guys have got awful weather at the moment or something like that. And then someone from Canada, like Alex, someone in my Discord, but oh, we have as well. And I will mean the United States and Canada when I say that. I just accidentally group them together. I know I shouldn't, but I definitely do. So today, hopefully we're going to be getting a little bit of differences in this, and it's going to help me differentiate between the two countries. I know there's a lot of differences. There's a lot of different stereotypes, and even though Canada is a bigger place, which was very shocking to me when I learned that out a few weeks ago. I never knew that. They've got obviously a lot less population, but it's a huge, huge place. Just a lot of it isn't inhabitable. It's a lot of it is just green area. You can't inhabit. So let's get straight into this video. We're going to find out what Canada and the United States compared is all about. Just 22-minute video, so get that popcorn out. Hit that subscribe button if you want more content like this. I'd really appreciate it. Hit that like button as well. Let's try and hit 400 likes on this video. And yeah, let me know if you like videos like this. Check out this channel. I think it's Mr. B. A few people have suggested him, and I've never checked him out before. So this is going to be a first time for me, but go and check him out if you enjoy this video. And yeah, let's see what the differences are between Canada and the United States. And I hope I'm going to learn something new here, because as a British guy, I don't know too many, but I know a few. Let's get straight into it, guys.
This video is sponsored in part by Curiosity Stream. North America.
We coexist together because we're all Canadian. We're part of Canada, and we're bonding together against the common enemy, the United States. What a horrible country. I live there now. They're the most un-Canadian people you will ever meet in your life.
Nah, actually, both have a lot in common.
Okay.
Whoa, are we really gonna do this? Okay, let's do this. Both have very close cultural and economic ties. So actually, both are two of the biggest countries in the world. Canada is slightly bigger than the United States. Both share the world's longest border between two countries. The border stretches 5,525 miles, or 8,891 kilometers.
Well, the miles make sense to me, because obviously we do it in miles, and that is huge. But I didn't realize it was so. Well, it puts into perspective how big the United States and Canada actually is when you just think the border on where they meet is that big. Like, that's insane, man. That is insane.
Yeah, while Canada has officially adopted the metric system as a whole, the United States is only one of 3 countries in the entire world that hasn't. That
why
said,
not?
Plenty of
We know why.
Canadians don't always use the metric system to measure stuff, and plenty of Americans do often use the metric system.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, let's stick with more similarities first, okay? Both are two of the wealthiest, most developed countries in the world. Immigrants have flocked to both countries for economic opportunity for centuries, which is...
I didn't know that as much about Canada. I am going to be putting into this video, by the way, so if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But this is a reaction channel. I want to give you guys my opinion, and this is what we do here. I didn't know as much about Canada. I could have probably assumed it. Obviously, the US. We all know about the US. It is insanely wealthy, and it's just a very technological country, very advanced. Canada, I could have really guessed bordering the United States, very close ties with them as well, and a very good country as well. I could have guessed, but I never really put 2 and 2 together.
Which is why major cities in both are some of the most ethnically diverse in the world. Both have mixed economies and have a progressive tax system on income.
Okay.
However, Canadians definitely pay higher taxes overall.
Oh, that hurts.
Lots of trading be going on between the two. The United States is Canada's largest trading partner.
That makes sense.
And Canada is consistently a top 3 trading partner for the United States. Both are in NATO and have historically fought as allies in wars. Both have lots of natural resources. Both have
just look how beautiful. I just want to put in as well. Again, we haven't seen too much of Canadian landscape and then potential national parks, but that is also stunning, man. We know so much about the US now. We've done so many national parks. It is a beautiful country, and Canada looks the exact same. And I would have assumed that about Canada. It just seems like such a beautiful country. I've never really seen much about it. I've never been. One day I will go 100%. And yeah, beautiful.
A wide variety of climates and rainfall patterns.
Yep.
Both are democratic. Specifically, the United States is a democratic republic, and Canada is a parliamentary democracy and constitutional monarchy. Both are growing at the same rate. Residents of both generally like their space. Indeed, everything is more spread out in both countries. Both have mostly the same holidays. Yeah, they both celebrate Thanksgiving, but of course not on the same day. Americans celebrated on the 4th Thursday of November. Canadians celebrated on the 2nd Monday of October.
Now that's just confusing. Now that is just confusing for me. I mean, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't really know too much about it, to be honest with you. Please inform me in the comments. I know you legends will. But why different days? Maybe we'll find out.
This is partially because Americans associate the holiday more with the pilgrims coming over, while Canadians associate it more with the harvest festival in general. Hey, you know what? Let's get into some history. But before we get into that, here's a word from our sponsor. And for the next part of this video, my friend Mr. Betts from the channel Drawn of History told me that he'd just turn me into a cartoon if I jumped into the computer. Let's try this out, shall we?
Oh, it's just gonna be sick editing, isn't it? Fair enough.
Okay, then, let's do this. Well, the earliest humans in what would later become both countries had settled nearly all of North America by 12,000 years ago. The Norse came to North America, maybe as far south as modern-day United States, but certainly modern-day Canada, around 1,000 years ago. Throughout the 1500s, European explorers came searching for riches and to take over and convert indigenous peoples to their religion.
A lot of British did that. The French also were trying to do that, but a lot of the British, I am partly to blame. Well, I'm not. My history is partly to blame, I guess you can do that, but we're all friends now.
Three countries to explore, conquest, convert, and colonize were Spain, England, and France. The Dutch and Swedes also had small claims as well, and the Russians out west later on. Ultimately, future Canada and a big chunk of the future United States would be fought over by the British and French, while the Spanish held on to claims for another big chunk of the future United States up into future Canada. By the early 1700s, around a few thousand Spanish, 16,000 French, and 300,000 settlers lived in modern-day United States and Canada. That alone should tell you the direction the future would go. But first, a few wars between France and Britain. The biggest one, the 7 Years' War, well, specifically the French and Indian War, led to Britain taking over all previously held French territory in mainland North America. Britain was feeling pretty good about themselves until 13 of its colonies decided to all up and declare independence a few years after this.
Shouldn't have taxed for tea, man. We shouldn't have taxed for tea. And I'm going to bring that up because I've had a few comments recently because I've made a few references to all because we tax a tea. And then a few people, I don't know if they haven't seen previous videos of mine and we have a little bit of a joke. I know it wasn't just because we taxed tea. That was obviously kind of like the final straw. We sent a load of taxes, but it was a long process. It weren't just about taxing tea. I do know that, but it's a good joke, and yeah, no, it's a good crack.
Today, Americans celebrate July 4th, 1776,
Independence Day,
as their country's birthday, as that was the day the Second Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence. After the American War of Independence, Britain lost most of its North American colonies, but it did hold on to future Canada. Many of the loyalists during that war, or folks who wanted to stay loyal to Britain, ended up fleeing the United States to future Canada. The United States was truly an experiment. It was the first government that went all in for the Enlightenment ideals of liberalism and republicanism, completely rejecting royalty and the aristocracy, while calling for prioritizing the protection of natural rights. It was the first major group of colonies to successfully revolt against colonial rule and inspire the rest of the world. Meanwhile, in 1791, Britain established Upper Canada and Lower Canada. Lower Canada still had a predominantly French population. Also by that time, there were the colonies of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. In 1803, the United States bought Louisiana from France, doubling the size of the country. Now let's jump ahead to the War of 1812. Most Canadians today know all about the War of 1812 and love to point out how this was the war when the British forces burnt down the White House. Most
Oh, wow.
Americans barely know anything about the War of 1812, so hey, Americans, why don't you educate yourselves on it, okay? Mr.
I don't know much about it, but I feel like it's going to go into a whole... This was on the Star Spangled Banner video we watched, and I thought it was a revolution. It wasn't. It was a War of 1812. People told me I don't know much about it, but that is when obviously we tried attacking that fort. And you guys defended it. Now, a lot of people say there's some inconsistencies in that story. We're not going to get into it in this video, but that is the general. That was one of the battles in it. So I know a tiny bit about it, but the details about the White House and stuff like that, I had no clue. So this is going to be super interesting. This video has been put together very well. I'm really enjoying it so far. So go and check this channel out after and hit that like button on this one. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm keen to learn a little bit about War of 1812.
Betts has just released a video about it over on his new channel, Drawn of History.
Okay.
Go watch it right now and come back, or watch it later or something. I don't know. This
Maybe
is
we'll react to it.
collaboration, okay? Yes, we plan to release these videos at the same time. It's a conspiracy. Anyway, yeah, so the future Canadians and Americans battled it out in the War of 1812, but really, it was a draw. One thing for sure, after that war, things have been relatively peaceful between the two countries ever since. Well, there was the Oregon boundary dispute, as both the United Kingdom and the United States looked to continue expanding westward. Both had signed the Treaty of 1818 to settle boundary disputes and to jointly settle an Oregon country. However, as more and more American settlers came to Oregon by the 1840s, tensions got a little hot between the two. Fortunately, they resolved it with the Oregon Treaty, splitting up Oregon at the 49th parallel so that the United Kingdom got the northern half and the United States got the southern half.
Fair
That
enough.
49th parallel today makes up much of the border between the United States and Canada. I guess later there was also a dispute between Alaska and the United Kingdom as well, once gold was discovered in the Yukon, but that was settled relatively easily. Back to the 1840s, the United States annexed the Republic of Texas, eventually leading to a war with Mexico, which the United States won and then got the northern half of Mexico due to winning that war.
And that's where New Mexico's come from. Again, something I didn't know. I knew about New Mexico, and to be fair, I've never really voiced it, but I have always been a little bit confused. Why is a New Mexico with very prominent Mexican people there, maybe even the Mexican language from little bits I've been told? Again, I don't know too much about it. Why is that not in Mexico and why is that in the US? But now we know, which is awesome. This video is very, very informative and very well done.
A few years later, it got its modern contiguous borders after the Gadsden Purchase. During the American Civil War, future Canada officially stayed neutral, although tens of thousands of men from future Canada enlisted to help the Union forces. Most from future Canada, after all, were against slavery by this time, and future Canada had long been a final destination for runaway slaves through the Underground Railroad. The British had gotten rid of slavery back in 1834. Anyway, a couple years after the Union was preserved and the 13th Amendment ended slavery in the United States, Canada actually became a country. Well, kind of. Mostly. They were a dominion, still technically part of the British Empire, but self-governing. Today, Canada Day is kind of like the 4th of July or Independence Day in the States. Canadians celebrate it on the anniversary of the Canadian Confederation.
Oh, July 1st, Canada Day. I never actually knew Canada had their own day, but guess what else is July 1st, which I don't think any of you guys know. That's my birthday. It is my birthday, which is, I don't know what the date is today. I think it's the 12th today. So that's in 29 days' time. Canada Day, my birthday, we can all celebrate together. That's absolutely awesome. I was 22 on July 1st, 2021, and Canada, I'm not going to do the math. I'm not going to do the math. It's about 180 years old. Maybe not even that, 160, something like that. 156, there we go. Wrong. That is wrong. 154, I think it is. Let me know in the comments if I got it right. I think I've got that wrong, but I've gone with 154. I'm going to be 21. But that is something I never knew. I never knew Canada Day and my birthday were the same day. Also, this video is so informative. I've made a little bit of a mug of myself, not being able to do the quick math. I'm normally pretty good at it, but it may be 154. I'm not sure.
Confederation being established on July 1st, 1867, in which the 3 colonies of Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick united. So here is how Canada looked at the time. But over the following decades, it expanded dramatically, and the United States tried to expand overseas. After getting Alaska, it aggressively found itself trying to gain a bunch of islands who mostly were not too happy being taken over. Kind of like all those Native Americans who had their lands stolen over the previous 2 centuries. Canadians generally did not treat indigenous peoples much better as they expanded. Both countries discriminated against people of color, and segregation was the norm into the first half of the 1900s. Most reforms in both countries during that time, such as women finally getting the right to vote, followed a similar pattern during that time. Canada and the United States were close allies during both the World Wars. While the United Kingdom put Canada with full equal standing with it in 1931, most Americans have no idea that Canada didn't truly become a completely independent country until 1982, after it adopted its own constitution. After World War II, both countries went through very prosperous times and continued to follow similar paths with reforms. However, Canada went a bit further with its government programs and has been more left-leaning, and this trend continues to this day. Canada also seems to have gone in a more progressive direction earlier. For example, it legalized same-sex marriage 10 years before the United States. Today, many of the differences between Canada and the United States are linked to the fact that Canada stayed loyal to Britain for many years after the United
Yeah, you see, US, well, why are you trying to revolution against us? Canada, they were loyal, they got their own independence eventually. I'm only messing. I'm over the moon for you guys. I don't really care for you guys. Did the revolution, it's what you guys wanted, and we wouldn't have the United States of today if it didn't happen. I'm not bitter one bit about that. That was just a little bit of banter. It really was.
The United States became a country after breaking away from Great Britain. Most Americans love Canada. Less Canadians adore the United States, but still, they get along so freaking well.
Awesome.
The United States has more people, a lot more people. In fact, it has 9 times as many people and has the 3rd largest population in the world.
Incredible, man.
California has more people than Canada. Remember, Canada is slightly bigger in size and is the 2nd largest country in the world by area, followed only by Russia. However, most of this area has few residents due to it being oh so very, very cold. 90% of Canadians actually live within 100 miles of the US border. And yeah, let's look at the climate more closely. Canada is perhaps obviously colder being further north, even if you include comparing it to Alaska. Most of Canada's climate zones are affected by very cold air from the Arctic region. There are exceptions along the southwestern coast of Canada.
Look how beautiful that looks. Look how beautiful that looks. I don't know if I'd be able to deal with the coldness on a regular basis in Canada, but it looks beautiful. It looks so beautiful.
There is mostly an oceanic climate. Much of southern Canada has various types of continental or arid climates. However, the vast majority of Canada is subarctic, and much of it is also tundra. The furthest northern areas of Canada are even permanently under ice. The United States is obviously warmer overall, but basically has every climate zone imaginable, from the rainforests of Hawaii to the tundra of Alaska, from the humid subtropical climate of most of the South and part of the Midwest, to the deserts of the western portions of the country. Heck, you'll even see several different climate types within one state. The wettest parts of the country get as much as 275 inches of precipitation each year. On the other hand, Death Valley, which is often not only the driest but hottest place in the country, barely gets more than 2 inches of precipitation each year. Canada has just as crazy of difference.
Before we get into Canada, I just want to say, it is mental. Is it not mental? Go and check out my Why is the US Climate is so diverse reaction. It was only a few days ago, and it goes into detail, basically what he's just covered. But again, when it's put in them words, in that situation like that, is it not just mental? That's one country, and it's all them different places, so diverse. Like, that's how big it is. That is insane. Even though I know about it, I've learned about it, and we've done a lot of reactions on it, it's still so mind-blowing to me. Is it not mind-blowing to you? Let me know in the comments. Like, it really is. That is how big it is. Coming from the UK, we've got a little bit of a divide in weather. Sometimes in the south it's a little bit warm and stuff like that, and up north it isn't. But nowhere near on the scale what you guys have, not even close to it, and it is insane to me.
The driest parts of the country up in Nunavut get just over 3 inches of rain each year, and Henderson Lake on Vancouver Island gets more than 287 inches each year.
That's a lot of rain.
It gets more rainfall than any other place in North America. There are 50 states in the United States, and also a federal district, 5 self-governing territories, and several other random island possessions. Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. The life expectancy is higher in Canada. Related to this, Canada has universal health care. The United States does not. Yeah, politically, the United States is more conservative on most issues. The median age is higher in Canada. Canada has 2 official languages, English and French.
Yeah,
the majority of Quebec residents speak French as a first language.
Oh, wow.
The United States has no official language, but the 2 most common languages are English and Spanish. The poverty rate is higher in the United States, although Canadians measure their poverty rate differently, so perhaps that is misleading. The United States also has worse debt as a percentage of GDP. However, the median household income is higher in the United States. Football, or American football, that is the most popular sport in the United States, whereas ice hockey is the most popular sport in Canada. Major League Baseball and the National Basketball League both have 29 American teams and 1 Canadian team. Those
Just
Canadian
one,
teams in both leagues are based in Toronto, which indeed is a city that feels like it actually could be in the United States. The cost of living is generally higher in the United States.
Again, it depends where you are. I'd guess the cost of living would have been higher in Canada. Just a guess I would have made. Completely wrong on that one. Fair play. Again, so many interesting things in this. I'm trying to take as much in as possible, and I hope you guys as well. Let me know if you're enjoying this, because this is awesome. So much information, and I want to do more of these videos because I'm learning so much.
At the time of this recording, 1 Canadian dollar was worth about 76 cents, meaning Americans visiting Canada get more of a better deal. Normally, there is lots of movement going back and forth between the countries, but less so, obviously, during the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic, Canada has fared with it better than the United States. Canadians are generally less religious. For those who are religious, more identify as Roman Catholic, whereas in the United States, more identify as Evangelical Protestant. A higher percentage of Canadians have college degrees, although the United States is known for having some of the best colleges in the world, and yeah, Canada spends more on education. Despite agriculture being much more of a big deal in the United States, more Americans live in urban areas. Sure, almost 80% of Canadians live in urban areas, but 80% of the entire country is uninhabited. Most of Canada is straight up wilderness, and it has more wilderness than any other country other than Russia. Just about 18% of the United States is wilderness. Major industries in Canada include mining, healthcare, manufacturing, and transportation. Major industries in the United States also include healthcare and manufacturing, but additionally, technology and retail.
Could have guessed the technology one, like, let's be truthful, America's revolutionized technology and is an awesome thing. Could have really guessed that. Mining, I suppose you could guess it in Canada with, I suppose, a wilderness of a lot of uninhabited space and maybe more mining. I may have absolutely waffled on that one. Let me know in the comments.
According to the World Happiness Report, Canadians are happier.
Oh, they're a happy
Americans.
country. They are happy.
Canada is known for Tim Hortons. The United States is known for Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. Well, dang, while we're at it, the United States is known for so many freaking brands. 3 of the 5 biggest companies in the world, Walmart, Amazon, and Apple, are all based there. Probably the most well-recognized symbol of the United States is the bald eagle. The most well-recognized symbol of Canada, the maple leaf. It's even on the flag. The American flag has 13 stripes that represent the original 13 colonies.
And I've never actually thought about the stores. I don't think I've spoke about the stores. I never realised the 13 stripes, what it's just about to say, is the colonies, the original ones. That's absolutely awesome. And I'm guessing there's 52 stores there.
And 50 stars that...
Oh, I said 52 again. I was putting in Puerto Rico in there and Washington, but 50, I should know that by now. Again, I've said in a previous video, I've always, for some reason, thought, which a few people I know, thought 52 states. No clue where it's come from, and I do know it's 50, but in this moment, let me off. I've been on holiday for a week. I said 52, but yeah, for the states.
Represent the 50 states of the Union. The United States has a much bigger military
than anyone
else.
else.
In fact, it easily has the largest military in the world. No other country even comes close. Marijuana is completely legal in Canada, but in some American states, it's still illegal. Canada has less violent crime. The United States has a higher percentage of its own citizens in prison than any other country in the world. That said, the United States is generally a more free place. One example of this is censorship. Perhaps due to Americans placing a high value on freedom of speech, you just hear and see more provocative and controversial stuff there. How about Canadian content, eh? The Canadian government actually requires that radio and TV broadcasters, including cable and satellite channels, have to broadcast at least a certain percentage of content that was at least partially created or presented by Canadian residents. Fortunately for Canada, lots of great music comes out of the country considering how much fewer folks live there. But yeah, American culture is more influential on the world. Throughout history, as the United States dominated mass media, it also spread its culture around the world through music, movies, TV shows, video games, and social media. There are two major reasons for this. One, a spirit of innovation throughout American history, and two, just having a huge domestic market. With the majority of Americans speaking English, they have also had access to a worldwide market of more than 2 billion English speakers. The United States is more nationalistic. If you tell a Canadian about the Pledge of Allegiance, many of them would be a bit confused, to say the least. Canada stopped making pennies. The United States still does, for some reason. Canadians generally do know a lot more about the United States than Americans know about Canada. Americans party harder. I have no scientific evidence to back this up, but it's probably true. Okay, let's try to wrap this up. Overall, most of the differences between the two are subtle. Canadians apparently call these pencil crowns, but Americans call them colored pencils.
Oh, what do I call them? Pencil crayons make sense. Colored pencils make sense. And because if they'd have asked me what I'd have said it before, they'd have given me options, I'd probably give mine. But I've got them both in my head now. So I'm going to stay divided on that one. End of the day, it's just, I suppose it's colouring pencils. And those such thing as crayons. Crayons are a different thing, technically. So I'm going to go with the American one. I'm going with the American one.
And Canadians call these washrooms, and Americans call them bathrooms or restrooms. But honestly, folks like JJ McCullough argue those differences are overrated. Because both countries are so dang big, and because there are so many regional differences, it's been really difficult making this video since many of these generalizations are misleading. Undoubtedly, the United States remains a superpower in the world, and Canada is often in its shadow. However, both continue to thrive and really do depend on each other. And yeah, they really are two of my favorite countries. I mean, awesome. No surprise, right? Full disclosure, I am an American, in case you hadn't figured it out by now. But I've been to Canada multiple times, and I really love it up there. I did also have a Canadian friend who really loves the United States read over the script. That'd be the amazing JJ McCullough. Thank you, JJ, for reading over the script. Also, in the summer of 2019, I totally predicted I would make this video eventually, man. And so I asked one of my other Canadian friends, Tristan from Step Back History, to give me his thoughts about the similarities and differences between Canada and the United States.
Canada has a lot of this patriotic feeling inside because in many ways the example of the United States is really the way that Canada has developed its own identity. So we develop these kind of ideas of how can we be not American, and so we try to find our own ways to do interesting things while being, let's be honest, more or less exactly the same in a lot of cases, but
the majority of my regular viewers are from one of these two countries, and so I know you have lots more to add in the comments, so comment away. Also, don't forget to check out my friend.
We'll end it there. I feel like we're just going to talk about other videos. Go and check Mr. Beat out, though. This was an awesome thing. I'm definitely subscribing once I've done with this reaction. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really have enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to do more of these kind of reactions. We pretty much turned out that I'm not really wrong in grouping them all together because they're very similar. I'm going to try to be respectful and separate them as much as I can, as long as I remember. I hope you guys don't get mind when you guys say you guys. I assume when you say British, you mean Scotland, Wales and all that, because it's just a general thing. We're across the pond, a very long way away, and you don't always get it right, if that makes sense. Now, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button as well, you absolute legends, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.